Hi, my name is Rory Bentley. I'm nearly 30 and I have a drinking problem. I also occasionally do the odd music review. Usually these have been restricted to the written word, but you know what? I thought I'd give it a try at the old video blog thing. So I'm going to do my first ever video review. Now, with millions of records sold worldwide, a storied, nearly 40-year career, and a fantastic double album, 92 minutes of progressive metal, with an 18-minute title track about an airship disaster, there was only ever going to be one album I wanted to review as part of my first video. And that's Cattle Decapitation! The Anthropocene Extinction. Ha! Gotcha, didn't I? Yeah? Anyway, Cattle Decapitation. What a band. If you've never heard of Cattle Decapitation, they are termed as a grindcore band. So in the vein of Napalm Death or Pig Destroyer, another one of my favourites. Grindcore is an interesting genre of music. It's all the extreme elements of hardcore, of punk, of death metal, just blended all into one horrible, grinding sound. It's associated with short songs, extreme vocals, and extreme topics, often kind of political. Along with some very, very silly band names. Now, Cattle Decapitation is, of course, a very, very silly band name. But they have got some very interesting things to say. A lot of their albums are about cruelty to animals, actually. So despite their very anti-cow name, a lot of the lyrics, silly as they are, about human beings put into situations that the animals are put into. So, you know, there's pictures of people being herded into like a killing factory. There's one album they've got called Humanure, which is actually banned, the cover's banned from like most record shops because it's got a picture of a carnivorous cow pooing out a human being, which is just fantastic. Now they released the last album they released, can't remember what it's called, I'm very well prepared for this, was very well received, and there was a lot of talk of how they were going to follow this up. What we have got here is, for my money, one of the best extreme albums of the year. Well, the best extreme album of the year, one of the best ones I've heard. I know that deathcore and grindcore and, you know, death metal and things like that aren't for everybody, but if you are looking for a way into a more extreme genre of music, so you thought, you know what, I like my Slipknot, I like my Judas Priest, Iron Maiden or whatever, but I'm looking for something a little heavier, but what's my having you in? I don't want to go straight to fucking Dying Fetus or something. This album is an excellent gateway because while being utterly, viscerally extreme, bludgeoningly barbaric, it still retains a level of songwriting slickness and accessibility that never actually counteracts the opposing force at work here. So there's hooks in here, there's parts on here that, you know, transition songs fantastically, there's ambient moments, there's actually clean vocals on here, and when I use the term clean, it's very loosely, so I mean we'll get straight into it. So the first track, Manufactured Extinct, is an epic kind of end of the world song. The whole song is about human beings and our unsustainable life eventually driving us to our own extinction, so we're, you know, reaping what we've sowed, as it were. So Manufactured Extinct is just a really epic way to open things up. So it's got just massive, expansive, almost post-rock guitars, but there's some extreme, just breakneck blast beats going on here, and then those vocals come in. So Travis Ryan, the singer from this band, is just one of the best extreme vocalists in the game, one of the best metal vocalists in the game. So he's got such an inhuman kind of range and just a palette of sounds that you can conjure up. So you've got these absolutely like beyond guttural kind of vocals. They're so kind of low, that, you know, they could probably produce the much talked about brown note, so you could actually poo yourself from some of these vocals. It's got these nasty scratches, you know, really kind of high pig-like, you know, squeals. He's got this lovely kind of middle at the gates kind of throaty range, but he's also got this approach to pitching his screams and singing, which I've never heard from anyone. It's a really raspy kind of like a little kind of troll that's been given a microphone. And he did some of it on the previous album they did, and some people were like, oh no, he's doing clean vocals, all have sold out. Like, nobody who, unless you like kind of metal and extreme stuff, would ever associate these vocals with being clean, as it were. You couldn't play this to, like, you know, your 15-year-old sister or your nan and gain a reaction of anything other than horror. These are, you know, like almost like Gollum-like vocals, but like pitched perfectly. And, you know, he did a lot of it on the previous album, particularly on a wonderful song called A Living, Breathing, Defecating Piece of Meat. That was the chorus of the song. You can't argue with that kind of lyrical prowess. But these vocals have been expanded so much on this album, so they've now taken on an epic quality. So this little kind of troll golem creature is just singing the soundtrack to the apocalypse, so, you know, to use a metal cliche, and it works brilliantly. Throughout, they're just used tastefully enough, they don't overly rely on it, it never detracts from the heaviness. You know, the one thing I wouldn't say hate, but I find off-putting in a lot of these, the latter-day kind of death metal and more extreme stuff, is when they do use a clean vocal, it just saps all the intensity out of the song. You know, you've got some harsh, nasty stuff, and then you've got these clean, kind of boy bandish vocals. And I'm all for diversity, I'm all for melodic vocals, but, you know, when you're going for something that's not pretty, something that's extreme, something that's horrible, you want something that can match that. And the problem a lot of extreme music does have is it tends to be quite one note. I like a bit of diversity to the things that I listen to. I like to be taken on something of a journey, as it were, throughout the song. And, you know, I like different flavours being thrown in, but without losing the intensity. And Decapitation, one of the bands that finds a way around this problem through their excellent songwriting, through their ability to dip into black metal, to dip into kind of the more grindy kind of punk stuff, the more hardcore stuff, and also to the, you know, the pure pace of death metal. And these vocals are all kind of part of that as well. So Phil Anselmo himself actually makes an appearance on The Prophets of Loss, which is the second song on here. Some lovely little ensemble kind of vocals, like, and a bit of screeching on there. And, you know, it says a lot that somebody of his kind of standing within the metal community is endorsing this album to the point of actually putting his vocals on it. And, you know, throughout, it's just so well paced. I mean, Clandestine Ways is another absolutely amazing song. This kind of epic lyrical approach as well is just, it's everything that you'd want from a kind of a death metal album, an apocalyptic kind of soundscape. So there's, you know, there's a lot of kind of end of the world stuff, you know, people dying and people being kind of punished for their careless ways and the way we kind of treat our planet. And you know, you might not, you know, always agree with the hippie kind of sentiments of this, but it's just so refreshing to hear a kind of very hippie message being delivered in such a fucking nasty way, and also extreme music taking quite a reflective, you know, humanitarian approach to things, or anti-humanitarian, because, you know, there's pretty much one of the lyrics on Prophets of Loss at the end is saying, "We fucking die tonight, and that's perfectly alright with me." So these are lyrics from somebody that is just exhausted by the wasteful way that we've treated the planet, and that, you know, we're kind of like a parasite and a disease, and we're finally killing ourselves off. The production, which is one of the best things about the last record, same producer, and it's brilliant. Some people have accused it of being a little too slick, and lacking the griminess that you'd want from a grindcore record, and the imperfect brutality. But I think it complements what Cattle Decapitation do. They are a well-oiled kind of beast. They are the alpha grindcore band. Every one of the members is super technically proficient, and I think it suits their style. The drumming on this, the blast beats, the slickness, the footwork on there is breathtaking at times. And again, it's not overused, so when it does come in, it has a real kind of stomach impact. And another thing that really separates these guys from a lot of grindcore, a lot of kind of death metal, is the soloing on this. The guitar solos are just unbelievable. They would not look out of place on a more traditional kind of metal album or a traditional thrash album. So these solos you could hear over a Testament track, even a Metallica track or like a Megadeth track. They're brilliant melodic solos that just add an extra kind of colour to this palette, and the bass holds down that kind of grinding kind of tone you expect from grindcore. So it's always kind of rooted within its kind of original genre, but at the same time it's always willing to venture out into different areas. So I've yet to hear anything that blows me away as much as this album. I've gave it a lot of spins now, and I often get fatigued with extreme metal albums. I love black metal and death metal. I hate Eternal and some of the more kind of proficient stuff, like I mentioned before, Dying Fetus. But I do kind of get a little tired of that, and I'm much more likely to be in the mood for this because of the songcraft on it, and such a unique vocal approach as well. Some of it does occasionally borderline on the comedic, but that's what I love about metal. It should be funny. It should be fun as well as really kind of dark and serious. But I would give this album, if we're going to give marks out of 10, I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, 0.5. Or shall we call it a strong 9? A strong 9 out of 10. So, again, fully recommend this album. If you want to get into extreme music, you're looking for a gateway, but you don't want to compromise on the heaviness, Cattle Decapitation could be the band for you. Or you could just listen to your Iron Maiden album and never move on. It's up to you. Anyway, I've been Rory Bentley. I'm probably going to do a few more of these. And I will see you later. Bye!